Introduction of letters written during a short residence in Sweden, Norway, and Denmark. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Rosie. Introduction to Letters Written During a Short Residence in Sweden, Norway, and Denmark by Mary Wollstonecraft. Mary Wollstonecraft was born on the 27th of April, 1759. Her father, a quick-tempered and unsettled man, capable of beating wife or child or dog, was the son of a manufacturer who made money in Spitalfields, when Spitalfields was prosperous. Her mother was a rigorous Irishwoman of the Dixons of Ballyshannon. Edward John Wollstonecraft, of whose children, besides Mary, the second child, 3 sons, and 2 daughters lived to be men and women, in course of the got rid of about £10,000, which had been left him by his father. He began to get rid of it by farming. Mary Wollstonecraft's first remembered home was in a farm at Epping. When she was 5 years old, the family moved to another farm by the Chelmsford Road. When she was between 6 and 7 years old, they moved again to the neighborhood of Barking. There they remained 3 years before the next move, which was to a farm near Beverley in Yorkshire. In Yorkshire they remained 6 years, and Mary Wollstonecraft had there what education fell to her lot between the ages of 10 and 16. Edward John Wollstonecraft then gave up farming to venture upon a commercial speculation. This caused him to live for a year and a half at Queen's Row, Hoxton. His daughter Mary was then 16, and while at Hoxton she had her education advanced by the friendly care of a deformed clergyman, a Mr. Clare, who lived next door and stayed so much at home that his one pair of shoes had lasted him for 14 years. But Mary Wollstonecraft's chief friend at this time was an accomplished girl only 2 years older than herself, who maintained her father, mother, and family by skill in drawing. Her name was Frances Blood, and she especially, by her example and direct instruction, drew out her young friend's powers. In 1776, Mary Wollstonecraft's father, a rolling stone, rolled into Wales. Again he was a farmer. Next year again he was a Londoner, and Mary had influence enough to persuade him to choose a house at Walworth, where she would be near to her friend Fanny. Then, however, the conditions of her home life caused her to be often on the point of going away to earn a living for herself. In 1778, when she was 19, Mary Wollstonecraft did leave home to take a situation as companion with a rich tradesman's widow at Bath, of whom it was said that none of her companions could stay with her. Mary Wollstonecraft, nevertheless, stayed 2 years with the difficult widow, and made herself respected. Her mother's failing health then caused Mary to return to her. The father was then living at Enfield, and trying to save the small remainder of his means by not venturing upon any business at all. The mother died after long suffering, wholly dependent on her daughter Mary's constant care. The mother's last words were often quoted by Mary Wollstonecraft in her own last years of distress: "A little patience, and all will be over." After the mother's death, Mary Wollstonecraft left home again to live with her friend Fanny Blood, who was at Walham Green. In 1782 she went to nurse a married sister through a dangerous illness. The father's need of support next pressed upon her. He had spent not only his own money, but also the little that had been specially reserved for his children. It is said to be the privilege of a passionate man that he always gets what he wants. He gets to be avoided, and they never find a convenient corner of their own who shut themselves out from the kindly fellowship of life. In 1783, Mary Wollstonecraft, aged 24, with 2 of her sisters, joined Fanny Blood in setting up a day school at Islington, which was removed in a few months to Newington Green. Early in 1785, Fanny Blood, far gone in consumption, sailed for Lisbon to marry an Irish surgeon who was settled there. After her marriage it was evident that she had but a few months to live. Mary Wollstonecraft, deaf to all opposing counsel, then left her school, and, with help of money from a friendly woman, she went out to nurse her, and was by her when she died. Mary Wollstonecraft remembered her loss 10 years afterwards in these Letters from Sweden and Norway, when she wrote, "The grave has closed over a dear friend, the friend of my youth. Still she is present with me, and I hear her soft voice warbling as I stray over the heath.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?